Okay, students, welcome to science class. Right now, today you are going to learn something regarding your practicals. As previously also we have discussed the practicals in the previous class. You have performed many practicals in class 9.
Yes.
Similarly, we will go with class 10 also, right? Because when you are learning something in science, you have the practical verifications. So for that purpose, some instructions are also required. As currently we have the new session with class 11, so we have some major changes in the practicals for class 11 as well. Similarly, some new apparatus will also be provided, different chemicals will also be here. So you have to follow some guidelines when you enter in the lab. Because if you are going to make the changes in the lab without permission, it can harm the apparatus as well.
Yes.
So some guideline I will provide you when we will start the practicals. And the most important thing is your lab coat, lab apron, right? You must have the lab apron because it protects you during your chemical reactions, right? And it is mandatory for the lab. Second thing, when you enter in the lab, you must have something which is required for the practical, for biology as well as chemistry practicals, right? So please note down some important things which is required for the practicals of this session. You have to purchase these things from the counters which is available outside of the school as well as medical stores, right? So note it down. Yes, now it is clear. So today we will go with biology. In the previous class we have discussed about the cell structure and its component type. What type of inclusions are there and how the cell is classified, right? So when we are talking about cell, what is the basic character of cell, Anshika? Meanwhile, you go and pick the podium. I have placed the podium. One, I have podium. The last. Anything more? It's pre-existing cells. Okay, sit down. Anas? Very good.
Nucleus is the main power that supplies
It controls the genetic information of the cell, how the cell is going to be transformed and how the cell will replicate or form the organs. What type of nature of organ can be concluded from that, right?
There are three types of cells.
Yeah, very good. Sit down. What is DNA, Abhilash?
So DNA is the genetic material of our human body which is transferred through the nucleus with the help of nucleus from parents to the offspring.
Okay, very good.
And it is transferred 50% by maternal DNA and it is less 50% by paternal DNA.
Okay, very good. Anshika, can you explain what is the role of endoplasmic reticulum? Protein, yeah, transport and packaging. Sit down. Siddhika, what is the function of ribosome? Protein synthesis. Where it is placed? And why we called endoplasmic reticulum as rough? Very good. Sit down. What is mitochondria? Very good. Sit down. What is the site for respiration, Shumaila? Mitochondria. How we can respire with the help of mitochondria? Can you mention some point? Very good. Energy is converted into mitochondria. How the energy is going to be converted? So, as per the mitochondria, sit down, please sit down. As per the knowledge of mitochondria, it is basically site for respiration, and it is a self-regulating organelle, right? Self-regulating means what? It is autonomous in nature. Suppose this is the mitochondria, a cross section, right? it as a self-autonomous. That means what?
Not dependent on any other organ.
Autonomous word means what?
They
They are self-dependent or self-regulating. Autonomous means what? Self-regulating. Like we called sovereign in the constitution, right? It is also a priority of autonomous only. Similarly, the mitochondria is also a autonomous body because it stores the energy. It stores the energy. Energy for what? For function of cell. For function of cell. Isn't it? When the cell is going to perform function, they will need some energy to do the work, no? And from where they will get the energy? From mitochondria. And the mitochondria stores the energy in the form of what? ATP. ATP is what? Adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. And this ADP is converted from what? ADP. That is adenosine diphosphate. Why the phosphate is required here? Can anyone explain what is the function of phosphate group here? Any idea? No idea? What is the composition of DNA? Composition of DNA. Whatever component they hold.
Nitrogen base and having phosphate bonds.
Pentose, sugar. So basically, if we see, there is always the presence of phosphate group, right? Either it is in the form of energy, either in the genetic material. Why it is required? What is the need for presence of phosphate group?
As mitochondria have its own DNA, that's why. Because DNA contains that phosphate bond.
No, we cannot say like that. We cannot say because the DNA is present everywhere throughout your body, either in your hairs or in your nail or in your saliva or in your palm. If you are going to touch any surface, you will lose your DNA, right? So on this basis we cannot say that. But what happens when we are talking about the presence of phosphate group? Is there any specific reason the phosphate is present over there? Can you guess? Just write down a question and try to find it and tell me in the next class. What is the reason? What is the reason for the presence of phosphate group in the ATP and other genetic component of a cell? Written? Now the function is what? It stores the energy and it provides the energy when there is a need of energy for the cell function, right? And this energy is converted by the process of conversion of pyruvic acid, and which mainly occurs during the glycolysis. What is glycolysis? The breakdown of glucose molecule. That is only glycolysis, right? And the ATP is converted from this process only. The complete process which goes during the respiration, the Krebs cycle and electron transport chain. This process leads the formation of ATP, right? And the ATP is stored in the mitochondria for the further functioning of the cell. Clear? And this is the organ which holds its own genetic material, right? As well as its own ribosomal particles, right? And what is the function of ribosome? No, ribosome is a site for protein synthesis, right? That means the mitochondrial surface which holds the ribosome also performs the protein synthesis, isn't it? And can you name the cell which holds its own mitochondria after the fertilization? Sorry? No, not chromosome. Chromosome is a set of genetic material that is highly condensed quiet form of DNA, right? So chromosome is just a set of information. I am asking which cell is holding its own DNA after fertilization. Fertilization means what? A male and female gametes are going to combine. Very good. Zygote. So in zygote, which cell will contribute the mitochondria, either female or male? No. This is the difference. Yes, obviously female. This is the difference. Because the sperm cell contains the mitochondria up to the tail portion. So when the acrosome gets dissolved and the sperm gets fused in the egg cell ova, the tail disappears. Only the ova which contains its own mitochondria is served to the zygote. That's why when a baby takes birth, the major contribution part is considered for the female. Right, because the cell level energy is provided from the ova, that is the female egg cell. Right, so mitochondria basically enhances the role of providing the energy. Okay, and energy is required for the cellular functions and metabolical functions. Clear? This point is clear to you all? Okay, now move to the next part, that is endoplasmic reticulum. What is endoplasmic reticulum? Aman.
Sir, there are two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Sir, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, in this there is the absence of ribosome, and in rough one there is the presence of ribosome, which has the formation of fat. And in smooth endoplasmic reticulum happens protein synthesis.
So basically, endoplasmic reticulum is directly linked with the nucleus, isn't it?
Yes.
It is attached with the nuclear membrane, right? And it holds the two parts. One without ribosome and another with ribosome. The surface which holds the ribosome is known as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the surface which don't have the ribosome is known as
Smooth
smooth endoplasmic reticulum, right? And what is the function for it? One basic function, can you conclude, Shabal? Protein? No. Yeah.
Sir, provide the part.
Yeah.
Does it provide flavor? Is the body flavor?
Yeah, we can.
The act as a pattern.
Listen, sit down, sit down. It's okay. When you are not doing anything, it doesn't matter, because you are here just to explore and know. So don't feel hesitate when you are giving any wrong replies and all. Because your confidence matters when you study more and more. And we are here to correct you. So don't worry for this. Endoplasmic reticulum. Before starting this, we must know the function of ribosome. As the ribosome is present on the surface, that means the protein synthesis has already been placed over the endoplasmic reticulum, because ribosome is continuously synthesizing the protein, right? And ribosome is specially designated for that site for protein synthesis. Please note it down. Ribosome is designated as site for protein synthesis. when the protein is synthesized, suppose if you are producing something or making something or cooking something at home, what you do after cooking? You have to place and pack it, right? You have to place, suppose you are making chapati, you place in the casserole, right? You are making dal fry, you do keep in the bowl, right? Similarly, when the protein is synthesized, the protein is going to be packed and transferred, right? That must be transported somewhere, isn't it? And without packaging, you are not going to transfer anything, now because loose can spoil, isn't it? So, basic function of this framework is supportive framework to make the packaging of the proteins which have been synthesized by the ribosomes, right? So mention it. A supportive framework structure to synthesize and transport of protein and fats. Okay. Now next is Golgi apparatus. It is discovered by Camillo Golgi, right? What is the function of Golgi apparatus? Soumya? Yeah, please. Sorry. From the formation of acrosome, right? Any other function? Can you list? Sit down. So good. Look here.